Lorcana is coming to more places, Brother Bear is joining the game, as well as loads more card reveals. Let's have a look at them together now. What's up, Eliminators? It's Charlie and Matthias here, back with even more card reveals. It is happening super fast now, so let's waste no time and jump straight into the news.
Let's do it.
So very quickly, some good news for our international friends. Lorcana is coming to both China and Japan. It was officially revealed on the Discord. It's going to be out in 2025. We don't know exactly when, but yeah, Lorcana is going to be making its way over to Asia. And if you are in China, or you're planning to be in China, there's going to be Lorcana featured at the
China Joy?
China Joy, yes, thank you, Matthias, held in Shanghai, China, which is going to be happening this month on the 26th to the 29th. So that's really good news. It's great to see Lorcana making its way over to other countries, to other regions. And I think I'm really excited to buy some Lorcana cards in Japanese.
I can't wait. We want to try the different languages. And of course, now it's bringing to a total of 24 markets, which includes the United States, Canada, Mexico, Austria, Belgium,
Are you going to do all 24? No, you're not. No, you're not. He's going to stop, but there are 24.
24.
And let's now jump over to the card reveals, because that's what you're really here for.
Let's do this.
Okay, so up first, very exciting, brand new franchise coming to Lorcana. It is Brother Bear, and we are starting off with Kenai. He's Big Brother, a 2-cost inkable 1/4 that quests for 1, and he has the ability Brothers Forever. While this character is exerted, your character's named Coda can't be challenged. We're going to see a Coda card coming next. You've got to assume we're going to see a lot more Coda cards, but he's basically functioning as a bodyguard.
For Coda,
basically. Yeah. So I think that's really cool. I love the flavor. Like it fits the movie so well.
Yes.
So that's really cool.
It's funny because we weren't expecting, we didn't predict Brother Bear, mainly because we thought
it wasn't in our top 10.
Yeah, we thought it would come later, but very good news. A lot of big fans and a lot of people reach out to us to say that they're joining Disney Lorcana because of that.
Yeah,
so
which is, I think that's exactly the reason to
exactly
be
what we need.
Introducing those new franchises.
Beautiful.
And up next, we have Coda himself, Talkative Cub. He's a 2-cost inkable 2/1 that quests for 2. And he has the ability Tell Everybody, during opponent's turns, you can't lose law. So first things first, I think he has a very good start line. A two questing on a 2 is a very nice one to have for those aggro decks. And then his other ability, I'm not sure it's particularly impactful right now. There are cards like Aladdin from set 1. Other cards that will drain law from your opponent, but that as an archetype really hasn't caught on yet.
No. And it's very specific, right? So for the case to happen, at least Shimmering Skies are announcing more of those, but it's still very cool to see the type of gameplay that we haven't seen before.
I think they're probably expecting in future there are going to be decks that kind of drain law as a way to counter aggro decks.
Yeah.
And this is an aggro character that is going to be kind of insulating you from that a little bit. So I think his success really depends on how effective as a strategy draining log becomes, but I think it's a nice card that maybe not now, but in future might see some.
And likely for multiplayer. I can see him being a good thing for multiplayer. Exactly. Yes, so absolutely. Exciting either way. Yeah.
That is cool. And we're going to continue with the Brother Bear cards. We have Rut, Northern Moose. He's a 4-cost inkable 3/4 that quests for 1. With support, we have lots of support characters in the game. If you saw our last news video, we're not super high on support, but it is an ability.
Yes.
It is an ability.
It's an ability for sure.
I think we're going to be able to say about that one.
And on the other side, we have
Took. He's a Northern Moose. He's a 4-cost inkable 4/4, quest for 1, vanilla. I think all I can say about this one is, as a kid, I didn't know what Took meant, and then I moved to Canada. And now I know that a toque is a hat, so I'm guessing that's the reference. But
I think so. And they are obviously continuous art, as you can see. We're putting side by side. Yes. You see that here. Beautiful, but vanilla.
Yeah. And on to the next one. So we saw all 6 Chromicons being announced, and we're going to start off with the Amber one, since we're in Amber. This is the Amber Chromicon, a 2-cost inkable item with the ability Amber Light. Exert this item, remove up to 1 damage from each of your characters.
Pretty much, you probably noticed that in the trailer. So Martin finds the Chromicon, the specific one, the Amber, before he starts playing the guitar in the show. We don't know how he takes the whole story around that, but as Charlie said, every single color or ink type earned 1, and they have different synergies and different styles based on that color.
Yeah,
so it's very interesting.
And in the case of the Amber Chromicon, we've seen items like Gumbo Pot, which remove 2 damage from to 2 chosen characters, also a 2-cost inkable, and we saw Dingle Hopper remove up to 1 damage from chosen character. I think We're seeing a lot of cards which power creep existing cards, and that is to say that they're significantly better.
Yeah.
I think as a card, the Amber Chromicon just completely obliterates Dinglehopper's ability.
Yes.
So, of course, Dinglehopper not really a very played card, but if we see the prevalence of like healing decks or anything like that, I think the Amber Chromicon is going to be the thing you play over the Dinglehopper or the Gumbo Pot.
And he'll work really well with the synergy with Grandpappy, right?
With Grandpappy, yes. With the Rapunzel Gifted Artist we talked
Yes.
about in the previous card reveal video. I think, yeah. Obviously, we're getting a lot of support for the healing deck, so hopefully it's going to be an archetype that emerges. So another franchise getting some more love is Wreck-It Ralph, and we're starting off with Fix-It Felix Jr., Delighted Sightseer, a 2-cost inkable 1/3 that quest for 1, with the ability Oh My Land. When you play this character, if you have a location in play, draw a card, which I think is
super cool.
a really nice addition. We're seeing a lot of the different ink colors getting more card draw options. In this case, Fix-It Felix is going to do it if you have a location in play. So maybe we're going to see more support for kind of an Amber location style build. We're going to see a Floodborn Fix-It Felix, which is coming up, which has similar location-based synergy. But I think, maybe in like an aggro deck, an Amber Amethyst aggro deck, you could play this, especially if you've got something like the Queen's Castle in play. So I think that has some potential.
It's nice, and it's tying with the narrative of Fix-It Felix, right? That's what I really like when they manage to do the ability.
I think that flavor. They said when they design cards, they try and fit it into the narrative of those characters and franchises. So I think that's really cute, nice. Really cool. We have another Fix-It Felix Jr. This is Trusty Builder, a 3-cost inkable, 2/4 that quests for 1 bodyguard. I think this one is a little bit less impactful than the previous one. We've got lots of bodyguards with similar stats, but I think as a shift target for the Floodborn Fix-It Felix, he maybe works. And let's
can I just mention it's funny in the art actually. I just realized with the translation on the bottom or the flavor. He's fixing the Great Illuminary after it's collapsing, so he's trying to go there and fix. So really cool.
Felix, never a day off for him, even when there's a party. So we are going to jump over to Fix-It Felix Jr. Nice Land Steward. He's a 5-cost inkable 4/5 that quests for 1, and he can shift in at 3. And he has the ability building together. Your locations get +2 willpower whilst you have this character in place. So I think, of course, a lot of location support here with the card draw now, something that'll actually give your locations more strength. So maybe we could see the emergence of a location build. There was actually someone online, Towelman Purple, I think is his username, who built a deck that was Ruby Amber location kind of build. So if something, if something like that catches it on, I think Fix-It Felix Jr. would find a place in a deck like that, or as we said for the previous one, maybe in an aggro deck.
I do wonder if you go with the previous one, the 3, and then you shift with this one, and then play the other one of 2. So you're making your locations draw cards as long as you have it, and you're protecting for even more. True, instead of shifting into the 2, you keep the 2 and the 5 and get the 2 synergies at the same time. And obviously, there's a lot of situation, but it is cool.
And it's a question that always comes up, but these types of abilities do stack. So if you have multiple Nice Land Steward, Fix-It Felix, it's going to be stacking extra willpower onto your location. So it could become kind of difficult for your opponents to remove. And finishing with the man himself, Wreck-It Ralph, Admiral Underpants, which is a really cool name for this card. He is a 7-cost uninkable 6/7 that quests for 2, and he has the ability I've got the coolest friends. When you play this character, return a character card from your discard to your hand. If that card is a princess character card, gain 2 lore. So an ability very similar to Hades from set 1 that we saw, which would let you bring a character card back. This is giving you the added benefit of gaining 2 lore as well. One of the things Amber currently doesn't really have is any kind of guaranteed lore, potentially, other than Blue von Brunwald. So this is a potential way to close a game. I think the obvious downside is a 7-cost uninkable is very expensive. Maybe if you're playing a deck that has Darks and Gastons to reduce the cost to be able to play him a bit sooner, then he might be more impactful. But I'll be curious to see which princesses this gets paired with, because of course the obvious ones are the Vanellope's if you want to build a Wreck-It Ralph deck, but there are many other princess characters. Like I could see in an Amber Steel deck, maybe you want to bring something like Ariel back, gain your 2 lore, and then play her again to find the songs you need. But
Not much to say. Again, it's just about the cost of the card, right?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with that.
We'll see what happens. And we're going to update our tracker.
We do it?
So we do have a few more cards. It was a lot this week.
There's
Not
a
even
lot.
this week. I think we last did the news like 3 days ago.
Yes.
So here you go.
So we're going and gone for all the amber, and let's go straight to Amethyst now.
Let's do it.
Which is my favorite color.
So first up in Amethyst, we have Maleficent Vengeful Sorceress, a 2-cost inkable 2/2 that quests for 2. Another Maleficent card. We have seen plenty in the game. She's a vanilla. As an aggro threat, I think this works really well. It complements something like the 1-drop Maleficent with a similar login, but a better stats and inkable. So I think in aggro decks,
yeah, it'll be good. Can you go 1, 2, 3, 4 with her? Do we have a 4 or only 1, 2, 3? Because with that we have a 2.
Yeah, you can definitely do 1, 2, 3. I'm not sure about 1, 2, 3.
I think we have 1, 2, 3, but that's is building. That is really cool.
But I think this is a nice aggro threat.
And what is cool as well, again, looking at the narrative and all the setting, she's saying that she didn't get invited to the party. Classic, of course. Why would we invite Maleficent? So she start putting the thorns around. There'll be cards that we will show later today where those thorns can be hinted towards. And they are trying to remove, so she's trying to destroy the party. Can she be the big villain for the set? We don't know yet. I think so.
I still think Yzma.
Okay, that would be amazing if it's Yzma.
Another really cool card, we have Rafiki Shaman Duelist, a 4-cost uninkable 1/4 that quests for 2. He has Rush, and he has the ability, a surprising skill. When you play this character, he gains Challenger +4 this turn. So I think this is
powerful.
He is powerful. We were comparing when we first saw him to something like Maui, a kind of similar start line, similar ability. Of course, he's an inkable, but he can quest for 2, which I think is is quite a big deal. He has a nice amount of willpower, so in most cases he will probably survive the challenge, survive the next turn, so you can quest with him. But of course, in Amethyst, you can bounce him with Mims, snakes, foxes, maybe even another Mim we're going to look at. So,
he's a nice boost from the previous one. They had a similar, not stat line, but we have the other Rafiki,
which is
with the Challenger in our play. So it's interesting to see the situation, the mechanic evolving in a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But honestly, this card is surreally beautiful. It's so beautiful.
I feel like the Rafiki cards in particular, the art is just incredible.
Always. It's insane, yeah.
So
beautiful,
there we go. There we go.
Yes.
3 for 3 beautiful Rafiki cards. Next up, as we said, we did see 6 Chromicons. We're going to see the Amethyst Chromicon, a 2-cost inkable item, and it has the ability Amethyst Light. Exert this item. Each player may draw a card, which sounds...
Each player.
So you and your opponent, and if you're playing in a group of 6, everyone gets to draw cards, so you can kind of share the wealth a little bit.
Can Ursula draw a card if you play in the Dip Turbo?
She counts as a player.
She's a player, so yes.
Ursula will be drawing a card. So I think that's it's an interesting ability. Often, as we've seen with something like Diablo, you do not want to be giving your opponent cards. I think probably the downside of giving your opponent cards is not worth getting a card yourself. But
I think it depends if you're really like in the extremely situation that you need.
Yeah.
The problem is to get to the point you would have already made the choice of putting this in your deck.
Exactly.
So that will probably not happen.
Yeah.
But obviously, if there wasn't each player part of that, it would be a better version. And the mirror, I forgot the name now. There's the special mirror that you can, from set 1.
Yes, the magic
mirror. That you pay a cost and you draw, which is so much harder to get to the setup. But
yeah.
I don't know if I will play this card myself.
I'm not so sure about this one. I'm struggling to really see what the utility could be, but you know, maybe it'll be included in some decks. But we're gonna go to a card that I'm very excited about.
As an Amethyst Ruby player,
as dirty Ruby Amethyst players, it is Madam Mim Elephant,
Beauty.
a 4-cost inkable. Get this. 3/7 that quests for 1.
Super rare.
She has two abilities. She has super rare. Thank you. She has 2 abilities. A little game. When you play this character, banish her or return another chosen character of yours to your hand. So obviously,
as it would.
Yep, the same ability that Mim, Fox, and Snake had. So it follows, which is really cool. And she has the ability Sneaky Move. At the start of your turn, you may move up to 2 damage counters from this character to chosen opposing character. So I mean, first of all, the willpower on this Mim is just crazy. I think it's going to be very difficult to move her off the board once she's down at a 4-cost. Like it's not unbelievable that she is going to just stick around for a long time. She can't be Medusa'd straight away. Yeah. There's lots of really fun synergy with her. I think things like Teeth and Ambition, you can play her, have a character sing Teeth and Ambition to put the 2 damage on her. put the 2 damage on an opponent character to get rid of them, and then when it comes back around to your turn, you can do the same thing. You can then move the 2 damage counters. You could definitely play her with something like the Vitalosphere, or even a new item we're going to see to give her rush, so she can rush in on her starting turn, deal some damage, and then move it over to another character afterwards. So I think this character, for the stats alone, for the bounce ability, which we know is just incredibly powerful, I think
it's gonna be meta. I don't think there's a way around. Don't quote me on that. But
whether it's a 4 of, or it's kind of spread between this and maybe Mim Snake, I'm not so sure. But because one of the things with Mim Snake is you often don't even want to be playing her on 2. You want to play her later in the game. So maybe
to get out the bounce effects.
Yeah, so maybe this card replaces the Snake just because the stats on it are so crazy, and the ability is
that is true.
A nice extra touch as well. So I think this card is one to watch.
Yeah. And if you remember the previous video just before that, we guessed that we would get an elephant.
Do you remember which ones were missing?
The chicken is the next one. I really want the chicken next, but we got the elephant, which I would expect that we might see some of Merlin's side of that story as well.
Yes,
so.
yeah. Well, we saw the turtle, right?
The
already,
turtle,
and then let's hope for some more.
Yeah, maybe the virus.
Yeah, I actually want to see Arthur when he turns into a sparrow. He turns into a little bird. That's what I really want to see, because it's the cutest.
And that comes to the end of Amethyst.
Yes.
So let's just put in the tracker again. Loads took over. So. And we'll go straight to Emerald.
Let's go. So Emerald, we're starting off with an action. This is Night Howler Rage, a 3-cost inkable action, as I said. You may draw a card. Chosen character gains Reckless during their next turn. And we mentioned earlier, power creep, cards getting power crept out of the game. And if you remember all the way back to set 1, there was a card called The Beast is Mine.
Beast is Mine.
Chosen character gains Reckless during their next turn. So the same ability, except this one lets you draw a card. The Beast is Mine is not a card that really saw play, ever.
No.
Even though I think actually the ability to give a character Reckless can be quite good.
Yeah.
We've seen that in Amethyst Emerald at the moment. A lot of people are running Jack, which gives characters Reckless when played. So I think, potentially there is a place for this if you want to disrupt your opponent and draw a card. I just feel like, something like this, you put it onto a Diablo. It's always Diablo, because you want to take out Diablo. You do this to Diablo, you draw a card, and then Diablo is hopefully just going to bash itself onto one of your characters and go.
Bye, Felicia.
Up next, we have Tropical Rainforest Jaguar Lair. This is a 3-cost inkable location, a willpower of 6, a move cost of 1, and again, it gives you 1 law per turn, which is always nice to see. With the ability Snack Time, opposing damaged character gains Reckless. Damaged characters gain Reckless. So we just talked about how Reckless can be maybe quite a good disruption ability. Maybe it's a little bit underutilized at the moment. But here we go. Here's more things this time of location that's going to give damaged characters Reckless.
And it's very important to say as well, it's not, you don't need to be inside the location. Just by having the location play, you activate it. So what it means is, as soon as you play this location, you could play as a distraction, because now everything is going to attack you as long as there is a character. Exactly. They have no choice. Unless they're singing, they could sing to avoid attacking. But it's literally changing the focus of the game. It's a way for you to earn some brief moment between your choices. I find this amazing.
I think it's really cool. The thing you have to remember is those characters with Reckless are most likely going to then challenge this location.
Yeah.
So unless you have something to protect this, maybe like the wall that we saw from the previous set.
That's true.
It is just going to go pretty quickly. But as Matteo said, the fact that it's a passive ability, you don't need
to be
a character
inside
there.
Earning points.
It's very interesting.
Imagine you play Fix Felix and bring this to 8. To Fix Felix, bring that to 10.
That would certainly make it even stronger. So I think this is interesting. Maybe one to watch.
I'm curious.
And So up next, we have another Chromicon, this time the Emerald Chromicon, a 3-cost uninkable item with the ability Emerald Light. During your opponent's turn, whenever one of your characters is banished, you may return chosen character to their player's hand. So again, Emerald is all about disrupting your opponent, whether it's their characters on board, what they're doing, etc. So this is one that's going to be bouncing them back to your hand. I think it's interesting because it shields your characters on your opponent's turn, so they're maybe less likely to be challenging your characters. The thing is, at least, is a lot of the time characters in the game have an ability on play. So oftentimes you don't necessarily want them to be bounced back in order to play again. But I think as early game disruption, it's really good. It is a May ability as well, so you can choose not to banish or not to send them back to your opponent's hand if you want to, you know, stop a rabbit triggering twice or something like that. But yeah, it reminds me a lot of Mother Knows Best. The fact that it's any character, so you can, you know, bounce back like a Tamator or something particularly difficult to deal with an Emerald. Yeah.
I don't have much to say either.
No, that's fine. So we're going to move on to a big boy, another Prince Philip, this time a Kingdom's Swordsman. He's a 7-cost inkable 3/9 that quests for 3, and he has 2 abilities. The first one, Dragon Slayer. When you play this character, you may banish chosen dragon character and take advantage. If this character challenged a damaged character, you may ready this character after the challenge. So a few things to talk about there. I think in terms of potential dragon targets, really the main ones are going to be something like Sisu from set 4, Maleficent, Monstrous Dragon. I think those are the 2 cards that still see play.
I think there will be more and more dragons, to be honest.
Absolutely,
Literally, we have so many dragons as a villain. Mother Min has a dragon form.
Yeah, that's true.
So there are no one plays Mother Min dragon, but there's dragons.
I think it's just do dragons in particular become such a problem in the meta
then I can use this.
that you have to run a 7-cost card.
I don't know.
I'm not sure, but the fact that he has the second ability, I think, is really cool. Yeah. The fact that he can challenge those damaged characters and then ready. So pairing this, of course, we've talked a lot about this kind of potential steel emerald archetype of damaging characters and gaining advantages there. So you could drop a Tinkerbell turn 6, Prince Philip turn 7, and then, you know, start clearing them out. I think obviously the comparison here is like Scar Vicious Cheetah. He can challenge and ready without any conditions. His stats are a little bit worse, but he is rushed, but he's not inkable. So I think it's similar. I'm not sure which card is better at this point.
I still think probably Scar.
I probably tend to agree.
But I do like seeing Prince Philip getting more and more cards. Like previous set versus Return, he got so many, and I think it's getting there. You know, when you can see the potential coming, because the cards are really cool. Actually, the effect is just hard to trigger.
Yeah, I think a synergy you might like is it with the Hades who can
play some crazy decks one day. You'll see. But that would work. But it's very situational. Again, going back to the art, he's cleaning all the mess the Maleficent did with not being invited with a party, and the next card does the same.
And you can actually see Maleficent Dragon in the artwork.
Maybe she's the one who started destroying the Great Illuminary.
Maybe. And yes, as Matteo said, we next up have Merryweather Good Fairy, our 1-cost inkable 1/2 that quests for 1 with the ability Ray of Hope. When you play this character, you may pay 1 to give chosen character +2 this turn. So we've seen a couple of these now where on play you can pay some ink to do an ability. So it's kind of like a nice situational thing you can use if you want to and not use if you don't want to. I don't know how impressive this ability is, really.
I don't know either, but it's just my point is more she's a 1 ink 1 cost.
Yeah, you can put a couple
you can
in
have
your
it
deck,
her. You can be inking her. If not, you can use the ability. I think it's okay. Not much to add, except a big shout to Ariwelli. That's one of his cards. So friend from Brazil.
Big fans of Ariwelli.
So good job. And again, Maleficent's thorns around the place. That's the last one, so I won't mention anymore, I promise. But beautiful card. I don't think I would use it.
Now we'll update the trackers. There you go. You can see the cards getting slotted in there. Emerald doing pretty well, I feel like, out of this set.
Yes.
And then we're going to move on to Ruby. I think you like this card a lot, don't you?
I love this card. I don't know. Well, let's go for it later.
You don't know? Yeah, let's do it.
Let's show it.
Yeah. We have Gaston Pure Paragon, a 9-cost uninkable 10/6 quest for 2. That is beefy stats. Beefy stats for Gaston, but it makes sense. And he has 2 abilities. A Man Among Men. For each damaged character you have in play, you pay 2 less to play this character. And he also has Rush. So first things first, another one of these cost reductions based on a certain condition. Yeah. In this case, it's your own damaged characters. So it's important to say it's for each damaged character you have, it's reducing by 2. So if you have 2 damaged characters in play, Gaston is going to come in being a 5-cost, which puts him into kind of the same slot as something like a Maui Hero to All, but with a gigantic strength attached to him, and also 1 more willpower than Maui. And I think we know how relevant 6 willpower is, because it is going to protect you from something like Along Came Zeus.
Yes.
Of course, the potential downside of this is that you are stuck sometimes with a 9-cost
Uninkable.
uninkable in your hand.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about some synergies as well, right?
Yeah, we have the On Your Feet Now as well,
Yeah.
which is a card that costs 4
An
uninkable.
action,
It's
yeah,
an
yeah.
action, right? And I don't remember the effect, but I think you can ready your characters. Yes,
You can
ready
ready
your
your-
characters, and by doing so, you're applying damage to them, 1
Yeah.
damage, which means literally you play that, then everything is damaged, then you can bring Gaston in
Yeah.
because it's decreasing the
So
cost.
if you
likely.
had 5 characters in play, and
Yeah.
you played that and put 1 damage on all
then
of
you
them,
can bring him for free.
then you can bring Gaston for
Exactly.
free, which I think is actually pretty insane.
It is.
Whether you can pull it off
Yeah.
consistently, I'm not so sure, but
It's a hard
yeah.
one, but again, if you have those characters, you do your action, you quest, you ready them again, they are protected, you damage them,
Yeah.
you bring Gaston, and you finish the job.
So up next we have Don't Let the Frostbite Bite. This is a 7-cost inkable song. Ready all your characters. They can't quest for the rest of this turn. What do we think about this one?
If it was a sing together, I think we would be more convinced because 7 is
Yes.
such a high cost.
7
Would you
is
sing with Gaston? Maybe the Gaston
Yeah,
you just
maybe
bring
that's it.
instead of singing Be Prepared.
Yeah.
It's a tricky
I struggle with this one because yes, I guess there is a world where it's an alternative to Be Prepared where you can ready your characters to then challenge them again, but there aren't that many 7-cost characters in existing red decks.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Maybe
If you had Amber with you and sing with
yeah, I was gonna
Ariel.
say maybe in a Mufasa deck potentially,
Yeah.
but then in those decks you really don't want
Yeah.
these songs. I'm just not convinced. Like it just feels far too expensive. It's a great ability, but I just don't
That's
know
an
how
amazing
relevant
ability,
it is.
but
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe
We
it'll
shall
prove us
see.
wrong.
Yes,
But
I just love the art so much. I want it to work out.
the art is amazing. And then next we're gonna go over to another character from Brother Bear. We have Denai, a 5. Did I say that right?
I think
Denai.
it's the Nahi.
Denahi, there we go. That's a 5-cost uninkable, a 7/5 that quests for 2. Vanilla. I mean, pretty crazy stats actually. I do complain a lot about vanilla cards, but I think this one genuinely has some insane stats for the slot that he's in. So it makes sense that he's the rare card. He's got better stats than Maui and he can quest. Paired with something that will give him rush, I think actually this character could be for vanilla. I think he could surprise us.
We shall see.
Yeah.
And he mentions the Azurite Sea again. If you remember our previous video with the Monstro, the Pinocchio whale,
Yeah.
we said, oh, there's an Azurite Sea. Is that from Pinocchio? Is it not? So it's not. It turns out it is from Lorcana. So we're curious to see
What the
the
Azurite
story
Sea is,
brings
yeah.
to us. Yeah.
Up next, we have Potion of Strength, a 1-cost inkable item with the ability Disgusting Concoction. Pay 1 ink, banish this item. Chosen character gains +3 strength this turn. If a villain character is chosen, they get +4 strength instead. And immediately I see an item like this and I just think it's a worse Vitalosphere because Vitalosphere is the same cost, the same needing to banish the item,
But you
and
get
chosen
rush.
character gains rush and +2. I think, of course, +4 isn't irrelevant. Even +3, it can be useful, like to help you finish off a location or something. But I don't know. I feel like you would just play Vitalosphere.
Yeah.
You would just play it.
There's
yeah.
no cost. That's the thing as well. Vitalosphere, you do pay a cost.
You
for
do
Vitalosphere,
pay, yeah.
But it's so much better.
It just feels so much better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really not convinced.
Can I just say as well quickly, we're trying this format because we got a comment saying it's hard to follow up cards that hasn't been translated in English.
Yeah.
So we took
took the feedback.
and we decided to translate the card. We're putting a massive information telling you this was translated by the information we got online.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is not the official card. It's just us translating the text to make our life easier.
Yeah.
So just wait until the official one comes out.
Absolutely. So thanks for the feedback. We
Yes,
do love all feedback.
Yeah,
Good-
we're always reading. I was trying to improve.
Good and bad. So yeah, let us know if there's anything we can do to make this better.
Yes.
Okay, so up next we have Simba, Adventurous Successor. He's a 1-cost, uninkable 2/1 that quests for 1, and he has the ability I Laugh in the Face of Danger. When you play this character, chosen character gains +2 strength this turn. So again, another better version of the item we just looked at. I think actually this is quite a cool one because I could definitely see you pairing this in a deck with Maui, for instance. Playing Maui and this on the same turn to beef up Maui and then taking out a Queen's Castle without
Straight
any
away,
effort. I could see a definite synergy there.
Yeah, not much to say.
Yeah, not much to say.
I can see that as well, and being so low cost,
Yeah,
it's easy to keep it there.
And the art, amazing.
That's always
This
it.
is super cute. Love baby Simba. Next up, we have the Ruby Chromicon. It is a 1-cost inkable item with the ability Ruby Light. Exert this item. Chosen character gains +1 strength this turn. So we're seeing just everything. Everything is the potion of strength. I'm sorry. you know, maybe we're gonna be wrong. Maybe we're gonna watch this video back in like 3 months, and everyone's gonna be using Potion of Strength in decks, and we'll look like idiots.
We'll
but I don't know. I just feel like this. It's free. It's free. You don't need to banish the item. Go on.
Gaston is a villain.
Yeah.
Imagine if you get another 4 on top of the power too.
I don't know when you would ever need 14 strength on
Maybe
a
there's a
character,
location. It's a location full of fixed Felix.
Yeah, that's the only use case. But yeah, I actually think this item is very interesting. Like I said, sometimes you need to beef up your Mauis to take down locations. Sometimes just one strength will make the difference between being able to take out a character or not. So I think in item decks, Ruby, Sapphire, I could see this finding a place. I actually think it's really cool, this item.
I do as well.
And
for me, I think my favorite is probably this one and the green one, Emerald.
Yeah,
I think it's my 2 favorites out of the 6 Chromicons. We're gonna show a little bit more. So,
and we're gonna jump over to finally a playable Pete card. I don't know. We have Pete, Steamboat Rival. He's a 7-cost inkable 6/6 that quests for 2 with the ability Disappear. When you play this character, if you have a character named Pete in play, you may banish chosen opposing character, which is kind of like a conditional version of Maleficent Monstrous Dragon. We joke often that are there any playable Petes in the game? Maybe we're going to get there eventually. I think right now there are only a few, but of course this card has good synergy with Pete Wrestler.
Yeah.
If you're able to use him to play Pete for free off the top of your deck, it's really impactful. But yeah, I think just like the ability to just outright banish any character on your opponent's side of the board is really cool, really powerful. And hopefully we can get that synergy to pop off. And his stat line's really good.
Yeah, no, I think it's probably hinting towards having more Pete. That would be no point. No one would use the other Petes right now. So I'm guessing that is the way, is a starting point to that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't play. I don't think I'll ever have more Petes. Some trivia.
Go on, I was waiting for it.
This is continuous art. If you remember all the way just from set 1, Mickey Mouse.
We'll show him now.
Steamboat.
Steamboat. Mickey? Willy?
I don't even think it's Willy. I think they call something else, but it's Steamboat Mickey in green.
Yeah.
It's on the other side of this art. And it's a classic reference to that scene. So we'll also show right now the scene. Yeah. Amazing. We love when that happens. And when it takes 5 sets to make the continuous art, it makes us wonder, did they plan that all along? I don't care. It looks amazing. So
I like to think they planned it all along. So there we go. So another peak.
And that's a super rare. So that's another super rare in Ruby.
Yeah. And up next, we have a Sugar Rush Speedway starting line, a 1-cost uninkable location. It has a willpower of 5 and a move cost of 0. This is the first time we're seeing this. And you're going to find out why. It's because it has the ability on your marks. Once per turn, you may exert a chosen character here, deal 1 damage to them to move them to another location for free. So it's actually quite a fun idea that you're kind of moving characters there, exerting them to move them to somewhere else.
It's literally accelerate. And you do damage on the process.
Passing the checkpoints.
Something hits your face, you lose 1 health. And
passing the starting line.
Yes.
I think the most immediate synergy is actually a Wreck-It Ralph card that was announced, which is Staffen to Mutton Fudge the Sour Speedster. Once per turn, when she moves to a location, you gain 2 law, so you can move her here for free. You don't even need to move her to another location, but likely you would, and you're going to be gaining that 2 law from her. So I think this is interesting. I'm not sure it's going to see loads of play.
No, we did discuss, I can't remember all the things we said the other day, but there is the whole idea of you actually going here to go to another place. There's that advantage, right? Because it's literally you're moving here for free, so you don't have a cost. As long as you have enough health, you can jump to another location. So like even the Queen's Castle, for example. But obviously, if it is worth it at the time, it might not be.
And they're also going to enter that location exerted because they need to exert.
Exactly. So they'll probably get damage. So it could be worse for you at the end of the turn.
But if you sing Don't Let the Frostbite Bite, you can ready all those characters.
Exactly. So it goes together. So there's your choice. Obviously, depend on all the other side of the board if there's threats to defeat you. Otherwise, it's a way to move for free. So the Queen Castle in all 1 turn.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we're going to finish out Ruby with the Break Free action. It's a 1-cost inkable. Deal 1 damage to chosen character of yours. They gain Rush and +1 Strength this turn. Yeah, I don't know. This, we've seen items that give you +1. We've seen items that give you Rush. Is this better than Vitalisphere? I'm not convinced, but go on.
It works with Gaston as well.
But it works with Gaston. Exactly. Yeah.
Jinx. Yeah.
If only you could give the +1, lower the cost of Gaston, then play. Oh, I suppose you don't need to.
No.
Gaston already has
Exactly. It's so strong
you don't
already.
need double
Yeah.
rush.
And I think that's a reference to the card to Captain Hook holding the
Yes, absolutely.
the firelight, right? With her inside.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
very
She
cool.
finally broke free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and let's update the tracker now. So Ruby is doing very well. There aren't many
Yeah.
more Ruby cards left to see.
Oh yeah, it's almost the end actually. So let's go to Sapphire, and I
Let's go to
promise we're almost
Sapphire.
there. It's a lot of cards to cover. We have one from today, straight from the DLC.
Straight from the DLC, we have Merlin's Carpet Bag. This is a 5-cost uninkable item. Exert, pay 1, return an item card from your discard to your hand. Not really convinced about this one at the moment. Of course, we know that returning items from the discard is really good. We've seen that with Tamatoa, but I just feel like in a 5-cost uninkable. I mean, I always say this: if any ink color can deal with high-cost uninkables, it's Sapphire. But I just feel like the ability isn't good enough to warrant it. It reminds me of the action from set 1. If it's not Baroque, return an item card from your discard to your hand. And a card that sadly never saw play.
No.
Of course, you can use this multiple times.
Yeah.
We are going to see some other things that encourage you to banish your items. So maybe if that maybe it can all synergize together.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's just as like you said, I feel like if someone is running that, they will be running Tamatoa anyway,
Yeah.
and the Tamatoa can give you that for free every time you quest or you play, or is it just quest?
Quest and play.
And play?
Yeah.
So why would you put more cards that are uninkable? We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But there is some potential synergy coming up. But first, we're going to look at Chicha, Dedicated Mother, a 2-cost uninkable 2/1 that quests for 1. She has support, which is so, but she does have a fantastic ability. I think truly fantastic. 1 on the way. During your turn, when you put a card into your inkwell, if it's the second card you've put into your inkwell this turn, you may draw a card.
It's insane.
And
imagine that with Fishbone Quill.
exactly, that's exactly where my mind goes to, because one of the disadvantages potentially of Fishbone Quill is you're sacrificing some of your card advantage by putting an extra card into your inkwell. But if you do that and you've inked before, then Chicha is going to be helping you replenish your hand. So I think this just has such beautiful synergy with that as a card.
I love this card.
Yeah. It'd be nice if she had ward, but maybe
That's too much.
Maybe,
let's
yeah,
not banish
yeah.
or errata that.
yeah, I think she's super cool.
And who is the one on the way?
Who is the one on there? You tell me.
Is the next card.
Okay, let's have a look at it. Of course, this is from The Emperor's New Groove.
Exactly.
Seeing a little bit more love for that film, which I think is such a great film. So we do have Cha-Cha, impressive daughter. She's a 4-cost.
Sorry.
She's a 4-cost inkable 4/3 that quests for 2 vanilla. Not bad start line. Yeah.
The end.
The end. Sorry, vanilla cards.
Beautiful though. Yeah.
So next we're going to look at Royal Tantrum. This is a 4-cost and inkable action. Banish any number of your items, then draw a card for each item banished this way. So this is maybe where you could see some potential synergy with Merlin's carpet bag. But I think you just need to look at how bad this action
if you
is.
compare, right?
If
with
you
what we
compare
have.
to something like Hiram Flavisham, Quest, or play, banish an item, draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
And he's inkable. This is uninkable. This isn't a song.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like
You're banishing less, you're getting more straight away, right? It's a character on the board, you can trigger many times, and it is inkable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's interesting that Royal Tantrum does at least let you choose. So if you've played like all 4 of your popsicles, all 4 of your Fortispheres, you play this, you could draw potentially 8 cards, but I don't know. I just don't.
That's true. I mean, I think it's situational, but it could work depending on where you are in the moment of the game, right? I don't know. I'm trying to see if on the top right we have a hidden Mickey there. I can't tell for sure. So if you can, let us know down below. I feel like the reflection looks like one. I'll keep an eye on that.
I think it could well be. And then another character from Brother Bear, we have Tanana, Wise Woman, a 2-cost inkable 1/3 that quests for 1. And she has the ability, Your Brothers Need Guidance. When you play this character, you may remove up to 1 damage from chosen character or location. Yeah, it is what it is. I think it's hard to get excited about this card. I don't think it's that relevant to be removing the 1 damage. Maybe in a Brother Bear deck. I think it's probably going to be one of the few places she sees play.
She reminds me of Katara from Avatar when she's older. She looks exactly the same design.
Does, it's true, yeah.
Cute.
So we're going to look at our penultimate Chromicon from Sapphire. This is a 4-cost uninkable item. With 2 abilities powering up, this item enters play exerted, and the ability Sapphire Light, exert, pay 2, banish one of your items, gain 2 lore. I think this one is maybe interesting. Again, we're seeing the carpet bag being able to bring back those banished items. This is certainly a good enough reason to banish an item if there were any to gain those 2 lore. Similar to Gleam from the previous set, where you could that which was an action allowing you to do the same thing, but yeah.
It's just, again, if you look at what the action we just looked at, I know that one is an action you're going to throw out after you use,
but it's a 1-cost thing.
It's a 1-cost, you can do loads in 1 turn. Then here, it feels a little bit...
I think someone is going to cook up like some crazy item deck that is just going to be like popping off.
And then just getting the lore.
But right now...
I just don't want to go against that. Honestly.
Yeah, right now, not sold. And so we're going to look at the first of 2 King Candies. This is King Candy, Sovereign of Sugar. It's a 1-cost inkable 2/2 that costs for 1 vanilla. And really, the only thing to say is that he is a shift target for the next King Candy, which is King Candy, Sweet Abomination, a 5-cost uninkable 3/3 that costs for 2. He can shift in at 3, and he has the ability Changing the Code. When you play this character, you may draw 2 cards, then put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck.
And it can be any card from your hand.
It can be
not the ones you just
exactly.
draw. Yeah.
So I think this card has a lot of potential. Like one of the immediate things that kind of come to mind is we have the 4-cost Grand Matala, who is a staple in a lot of Sapphire decks, particularly Sapphire Ruby. King Candy could kind of fit into that similar slot as her, letting you draw the cards. He has slightly better stats. He quests for 1 more lore. He is uninkable, but I think being able to draw 2 and then get rid of a potentially bad card from your hand is pretty good. The fact that you can shift him in and then use him right away. I think
he quests for 2 as well.
And he quests for 2, exactly.
I think if he's coming as a shift target, he can be very good, really, obviously, because then you can still quest in the turn and then put the effect.
Exactly. Well,
if he's not doing anything, right? But if you are just playing him on its own, I'm not sure. But you know better than me. I don't play Sapphire.
I feel like the line you want is you play him, you draw the 2 cards, and then you immediately sing with him how far I'll go. I think that would be kind of the perfect line.
Fair enough, yeah.
And okay, so we're going to update the Sapphire tracker so you can see all of those cards slotting into place. There we go. Actually, random story. I was at a set championships this weekend and someone came up to me and said, I love your animations in your videos.
Yes.
So thank you so much. If you're watching, I can only assume these are the animations.
I hope it's these animations. Maybe it's the transitions, but thank you. We really appreciate your kind words. Yes.
And now we're going to jump over to the last few cards, which is Steel. Starting off, we saw a really cool Simba card and we're seeing another really cool Simba card, at least the art. This is Simba Lost Prince, a 3-cost inkable 2/4 that quests for 1 with the ability Face the Past. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you may draw a card. And similar ability to what we saw with Jafar Dreadnought. I don't know why I couldn't get the name. Jafar Dreadnought, letting you draw a card. I think this card is okay. It is a prince, so maybe there'll be some synergy there. He is a hero. But I think really this is one of those cards that will do pretty well in drafts and sealed tournaments.
I'm just curious because we're waiting for the Floodborn for so long, right?
Where is he?
Where's
the Floodborn
Simba? First Shimmering Skies?
Yeah.
We can just hope.
But it's an interesting card. It's always nice to draw cards. Next up, we have Namari Resolute Daughter, a 9-cost uninkable, a 5/5 that quests for 3, with the ability I don't have any other choice. For each opposing character that was banished in a challenge this turn, you pay 2 less ink to play this character, and she also has resist +3. So another one of those like Gaston.
Similar, but based on banishing.
In this case, banishing, reducing her cost. So I think, interesting. Again, it's 2 per character banished. So if you banish 2 characters, you're going to be able to play her for 5. So I think, it's going to really depend. I think it requires a lot of setup. Like Gaston, maybe it's a little bit too expensive to run too many of her in your deck. But
she could work with Vicious Cheetah, right? Scar.
Absolutely.
If I'm just reading ping and then just bringing her in because it's quite powerful.
Yeah.
So in a way, you're almost playing 2 strong characters at the same turn.
If you can get that to pop off, I think it could be really good.
That is a destruction for your opponent at a point.
Resist 3 is a nasty amount of resist.
Is that the first time we see resist 3?
I think resist 2 is the most, and anyone who's played against 3 Cogsworths knows
the
how
feeling.
awful.
So this is 3 already,
Yeah.
and your Cogsworth
So
on top of
if,
that.
if you're able to get this out and you're
Yeah.
playing Steel, they're going to have a very difficult time to remove
Yeah.
her. And of course, the 3 lore questing is not insignificant.
No, yeah. And now it's nice to see more Namaris.
So maybe as a 1 or a 2 of in a deck, a Steel deck to close games, I think she could have some potential. So next we're going to look at the final Chromicon. This is the Steel Chromicon, a 6 cost, uninkable item with the ability Steel Light. So what do you get for that 6 cost uninkable? You get Exert, deal 1 damage to chosen character, which is, I don't know. I
can tell you what. Obviously, we're going to compare with other cards. I play Ruby Amethyst, right? I cannot, as the game is right now, I can never remove an item.
That's true. Yeah.
I can never remove an item.
Okay, so
this is expensive.
There's 1 plus for it.
This is an expensive.
Yeah.
No, but a lot of people play Ruby Amethyst, right?
Yeah,
That's the reality.
yeah.
If you're like playing 2 of those, that's never gonna happen. But
Yeah.
imagine every turn you can be doing those damn damages.
I think that's the thing. If you get 2 of these out,
Yeah.
it becomes suddenly much better.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I compare it to Plasma Blaster
Yes.
from the first set.
3 cost 3 uninkable.
Yeah, that one you had to pay 2 every time to deal 1 damage.
Mm.
But I just feel like, 6 cost uninkable. The only thing I can say is if you're able to get it out for free, maybe it's going to be good. So I like Scrooge McDuck, richest duck in the world, has the ability will let you play an item for free if he banishes an item.
True.
I think is probably the only time this kind of becomes
Yeah.
useful. And next we've got Rudy, Groove Disruptor, a 1 cost inkable 2/2 that costs for 1 vanilla. Really, I just love that name. Groove Disruptor,
amazing.
that's like me.
Yeah.
I feel like just stop partying, stop making noise.
Vanilla.
Vanilla.
That's all we have to say.
That's all we have to say. But yeah, again, more love for Emperor's New Groove.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And I love the narrative underneath.
Yeah, and the background there is really cool
Yes.
with the temple. And we're gonna finish off with When Will My Life Begin? A 3 cost inkable song. Chosen character can't challenge during their next turn. Draw a card. So again, I think anything that says draw a card
Yes.
is always a really good ability
And a
to
song.
have. And a song, so you
Yeah.
can sing it. Being able to prevent a character like a Maui or someone with Reckless from being able to challenge, I think can be kind of impactful. I could see this maybe in like a Steel song deck, a Steel Amethyst deck, maybe like more aggro where you really want to protect your characters. It could certainly slot in there. It could also slot into an Emerald Steel deck. You have Ursula, Deceiver of All, seeing this, draw 2 cards and stop 2 characters from challenging.
Yeah.
Could be one to watch. I don't think it's going to be a meta break or anything like that, but I think it has some utility.
Has a lot of potential,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. I just can't stop looking at the art. It's just
It's amazing.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's nice to see
Beautiful,
more
beautiful,
tangled
beautiful.
cards.
Yes.
We have a lot, but we can
Yes.
always have more. And that's it.
That's it.
Let's update Steel now with those cards, and certainly a lot
I
to
never know
cover.
which way. Again, it's a mirror thing.
We
I
think it's this way.
Then-
No, it's this way.
I don't know.
This way, we're
This
updating
way.
the cards. And there we go. That's all of the card reveals this time. What was your favorite, Matthias?
I don't know if it's gonna be very meta. I hope so, but I will be all for Gaston Pure Paragon.
Okay,
I
it's
just
a
love everything that
super
I
cool
know so
card.
far about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And I think I made it pretty clear. Mine is definitely Madam Mim Elephant. I can't wait to put that in my Ruby Amethyst deck as soon as she's out. But let us know down in the comments what your favorite reveals were, and were there any cool synergies we forgot to talk about. Let us know.
Don't forget to also join us on Discord. The link is just down below in the description. We're waiting for you there.
Yeah, come hang out. And of course, a huge, massive, gigantic shout out to our YouTube members. Really, it helps us out a lot here on the channel. We're going to continuously be improving the quality thanks to you. So thank you so much. And if you're interested in learning about YouTube memberships, you can hit the join button down below. It will give you all the details.
All the details.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure, no pressure, no pressure. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank
And
you.
as always, happy questing.
Happy questing.
Bye.